right now, without doing anything, without even thinking about it, you are seconds away from brain damage. That's not a metaphor. It's a biological fact.
The only reason it hasn't happened yet is because there's an invisible gas around you that you have never once seen, tasted, or thanked. Now imagine it's just gone.
Not less of it, gone. Every molecule of oxygen on Earth vanishing for exactly 5 minutes. In this video, we're going to walk through those 5 minutes, second by second. What happens to your body? What happens to the sky above you? What happens to jet engines, candles, the sun's ability to even look orange? And why one specific group of animals would survive this event completely unharmed, while almost everything else on the planet would not. By the end of this, you'll understand something most people get completely wrong about oxygen. It's not just the thing you breathe.
It's the thing holding a huge percentage of the world together in ways that have nothing to do with lungs at all. This scenario is actually rooted in real atmospheric chemistry and physiology research, the kind used by NASA and hypoxia researchers to understand oxygen deprivation limits.
So this isn't fantasy. It's just physics we normally never have to think about. Let's start with the most obvious victim, you. How long do you actually think you'd last?
In high-altitude climbing, there's a zone above 8,000 meters, nicknamed the death zone. Not because the air is empty, but because it has roughly a third of the oxygen found at sea level.
Climbers who spend too long there without supplemental oxygen begin to hallucinate, lose coordination, and make fatal decisions while feeling completely fine. That's with a third of normal oxygen. Now imagine zero. Within 15 seconds of zero oxygen, you'd lose consciousness. Not because you'd suffocate, that takes longer, but because your brain is the single most oxygen-hungry organ you own. It burns through roughly 20% of your body's oxygen supply, despite being about 2% of your body weight. Cut the source, and the lights go out almost instantly, like unplugging a computer mid-render. But here's the twist. You personally might not be the first thing to go. Something happening thousands of feet above your head would start collapsing before you even hit the floor. What actually keeps the sky from burning us alive?
The ozone layer, our planet's UV shield, isn't a separate ingredient floating up there. It's made of oxygen. Specifically, O3, 3 oxygen atoms bonded together, created when UV radiation splits regular O2 apart. It's oxygen's molecular cousin, built entirely from the same material. Remove all oxygen, and the ozone layer doesn't thin. It simply ceases to exist. For those 5 minutes, unfiltered ultraviolet radiation would hit the surface of the Earth directly. 5 minutes isn't long enough to burn you to death, but it is long enough for a serious sunburn-level radiation dose on any exposed skin, worldwide simultaneously. And while the sky stops protecting you, something even stranger happens to every engine, flame, and spark on Earth. Here's a question almost nobody asks. What actually makes fire fire? Every flame you've ever seen, a candle, a gas stove, a car engine, a jet turbine, is a combustion reaction. And combustion is chemistry's word for burning something in the presence of oxygen. No oxygen, no reaction. Firefighters actually use this exact principle deliberately. One method of extinguishing certain fires is smothering them to physically cut off their oxygen supply. So for 5 minutes, every candle extinguishes instantly. Every gas stove flame dies. And most seriously,
every jet engine and internal combustion car engine in the sky and on the road would suddenly stop generating thrust or power mid-operation worldwide. Planes wouldn't explode, but they would suddenly lose engine power at altitude. So, between the collapsing shield above you and the engines failing around you, you'd think humans are the main casualty. You'd be wrong. There's a much older resident of this planet that's actually built to survive this exact scenario. So who, if anyone, walks away from this unscathed?
Certain anaerobic organisms, bacteria that live deep in ocean sediment, in your gut, or in oxygen-free environments like hot springs, don't just tolerate a lack of oxygen. Many of them are actively poisoned by its presence. Oxygen is toxic to them, the way a vacuum is toxic to us.
For 5 minutes, while every oxygen-breathing organism on the surface is in crisis, these organisms would experience nothing. It's a strange reminder that life and oxygen aren't actually synonymous. We just built our version of life around it. And that distinction between what needs oxygen and what doesn't is about to matter a lot more. Because when the oxygen switches back on, it doesn't come back gently. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. The return of oxygen might actually be more violent than its absence. For 5 minutes, unburned fuel would have been building up. Leaking gas, vapor in engines, aerosolized particles in the air, all sitting there with nothing to react with. The instant oxygen floods back in, all of that built-up fuel meets it at once. Fire investigators have a term for a related phenomenon, backdraft, where a fire starved of oxygen in an enclosed space suddenly reignites explosively the moment oxygen re-enters. Multiply that principle across every gas leak, every idling engine, every industrial facility on Earth, all reactivating in the same instant. The 5 minutes without oxygen might be survivable for most structures. The 5 minutes after could be the actual disaster. If you take one thing from this, oxygen isn't just fuel for your lungs. It's structurally load-bearing for almost every system on this planet. Your brain, the sky above you, and every flame we've ever lit. It's not a resource we use. It's a resource we're built inside of. But oxygen disappearing for 5 minutes is nothing compared to what happens if gravity did the same thing. Because unlike oxygen, gravity isn't just holding you up, it's holding the entire planet together. And what happens in that video is honestly far more violent than this one. Medium shot of a glowing gold arrow-shaped click icon pulsing invitingly beside the cracked Earth, clean and direct, inviting the next click.